Hello viewers, myself Dr. P.K. Verma. Today I shall discuss the triploblastic organization in animal kingdom. You know that only two phyla, Porifera and Coelenterata, have diploblastic organization, that is they have two cell or tissue layers, but all higher forms are triploblastic. They have ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. Now the triploblastic organisms can be divided into two parts. One is acoelomate. It means they have no coelom, and only one phylum, the Platyhelminthes, belongs to acoelomate phylum. The other group is coelomate. It has at least three types of coelom. The first one is called pseudocoelom, and the animals are called pseudocoelomate. The roundworms or Aschelminthes belong to pseudocoelomate group. The second one is the true coelom, known as schizocoelom. The animals are called schizocoelomate. Such coelom developed at first in Annelida and carried forward in the mollusca and arthropoda. However, in arthropoda, the true coelom degenerated in most of the part of the body and formed a hemocoelom. The third one is enterocoelom. Its development is different from schizocoelom. It is typically found in echinodermata and chordata, as well as some lophophorates, that is Bryozoa, Brachiopoda and the Phoronida. These are three minor phyla, three minor invertebrate phyla. Now let us discuss the characters of Platyhelminthes. Vogt in 1851 at first used the term Platyhelmia for different types of parasitic worms, including nematines. This name Platyhelmia was changed by Platyhelminthes by Ziegenbauer in 1859. It included Turbellaria, Trematoda, Cystoda and Nemertina. But Minot in 1876 excluded nematines from this phylum of flatworms, so only Turbellaria, Trematoda, Cystoda, these three are the classes of Platyhelminthes. Now these worms have flat body surface with bilateral symmetry. The upper and lower part of the body wall become attached together, leaving no space. These are triploblastic with a better developed mesoderm, but the mesoderm is in the form of primitive connective tissue, commonly known as mesenchyma or parenchyma. It contains many loosely arranged cells inside a jelly-like matrix. The muscles are weakly developed and arranged in longitudinal and oblique rows. Because of this weakness, they have improper locomotion. They cannot move fast even if they live freely in water. These are acoelomate animals without any type of body cavity. They may or may not have a digestive system. In tapeworm, the digestive system is completely absent, but they absorb nutrition from the intestine of the host. So they have absorptive nutrition. The other two classes, Trematoda and Turbellaria, have digestive system. They have mouth, stomach and bifid intestine. They have two parts of a small intestine, but the large intestine and anus are missing. The respiratory and circulatory systems are absent. When there is any gaseous exchange, it takes place through general body surface. The most important identification of platyhelminthes is presence of phloem cells. These are the cellular units meant for excretion. In addition to phloem cells, they have excretory ducts. These cells have taxonomical value in classification of class Trematoda. They have a central nervous system with a number of cephalic ganglia and nerve cords. The sense organs are poorly developed or absent. It is better developed in free-living worms and the free-living larvae such as the Miracidium larva. The animals are generally bisexual or monoecious, but schistosoma is unisexual and the male partner is shorter than the female partner. The eggs are alecithal, that is, they don't store lecithin as reserve shares of food, but the eggs are surrounded by a large number of yolk cells, so these are known as ectolecithal eggs. These yolk cells are secreted or released from a separate yolk gland or vitelline gland. The parasitic worms have complex life cycle with a number of larval stages, and generally more than one host are used. When there are two hosts in the life cycle of a parasite, these are called digenetic parasites. The life cycle of free-living worm is simple and without larval forms. They even reproduce asexually. So you can see a number of advanced characters in the Platyhelminthes over Coelentata. Coelentata had coelenteron, but such body cavity is absent in Platyhelminthes. Coelentata was diploblastic. The Platyhelminthes are triploblastic. They had nerve cells, nerve net, but no central nervous system. But Platyhelminthes has ganglionic brain and nerve cords. They had no connective tissue or mesoderm. Here the connective tissue and mesoderm are present. And for excretion, they have specialized phloem cells. Now come to the first class known as Turbellaria. These are mostly free-living worms or the ectoparasites, or live on dead animals' body to feed upon their flesh. The epidermis is ciliated and help in locomotion. It is important point for Turbellarians. The epithelial cells fuse together, frequently forming syncytium, that is, all cells attached together to form one confluent and multinuclear cell. They have no chitinous cover. The body wall contains mucous cells as well as rod-like cells known as rhabdites. These rhabdites are non-living endoskeleton. Planaria or Dugacia, Gunda and Convoluta are typical examples of Turbellaria. Now see the photograph of Planaria. It is found in mud in the dirty ponds. with a number of animals living there. You can mark that there are eye-like spots in them. These are photoreceptors. Perhaps they do not form image, but they react negatively to the bright sunlight and therefore like to live in the mud. The convolvulata are minute worms, very small. You can see their size hardly ranges 2 to 3 millimeter. They remain attached to the surface of soft part of aquatic animals. Now the second class is Trematoda. These are ecto or endoparasites. The body is flat and leaf-like, sometimes cylindrical. Epidermis is covered with cuticle. The suckers and hooks may be present. They have a bifid intestine, that is mouth, esophagus, stomach are formed. Intestine divides into two parts and from each multi-branch ceca develop. With the help of these ceca, food is distributed directly in most part of the body. Their life cycle is highly complicated. In Fasciola hepatica, a sporocyst, one or more generations of radia, cercaria and metacercaria larvae are formed. Polystoma, Fasciola hepatica, that is liver fluke of sheep, Fasciola gigantica, liver fluke of cattle, and Schistosoma, that is blood fluke or the blood worms are common examples. Now see the photograph of Schistosoma. There are two worms living together. This thin part represents the female worm and this thick and shorter is the male worm. In this diagram you can see the difference in length very easily. The female is longer than the male. It seems that they develop commonly, but during development the male part and female part separate and the female part remains embedded in a groove made ventrally in the male part. This is the photograph of hepatica, Fasciola hepatica. Fasciola gigantica is larger than it, and these are the two larvae, Miracidium and Cercaria. These are free living in fresh water. The third class is Cystoda. These are endoparasitic worms commonly known as tapeworm. They have length, they have width, but they have negligible thickness. The body is divided into head or scolex, a neck that regularly divides transversely to form small segments known as proglottids, and the chain of proglottid is called stobila. So the transverse division in the posterior part of neck is called stobilation. Each proglottid represents a sexual joint as it contains a complete set of male and female sex organs. Therefore, after maturation, there is self-fertilization within every proglottid or between two adjacent proglottids. Digestive system is completely absent in tapeworms and they have absorptive nutrition. Life cycle of Taenia is complicated with hexacanth and Cysticercus larva. Tiniasolium is pork tapeworm, that is, it lives in human as well as in the sheep as well as in the pig. Tinea saginata lives in human as well as the cattle. The third example is Echinococcus, that is dog tapeworm. Hymenolapis, that is dwarf tapeworm. So you can see the photograph of Tinea solium. You can see the fine segments forming here. These are proglottids. In another photograph, the proglottids look longer because these are white, colorless, and therefore photographed after keeping on the black papers. Now the head part is unfortunately not photographed, but it is photographed separately. It is the scolex. The upper protruded part is called rostellum. It is taken from internet and it is a very beautiful photograph. You can see two rows of fine teeth. The upper row is larger teeth and the lower row has a smaller teeth. There are 24, 28 to 32 teeth in the scolex. There are also 4 suckers in the 4 sides of the head. Through these suckers and hooks, the animal sticks to the surface of intestine and causes heavy damage to intestinal epithelium. So you have learnt the general characters of Platyhelminthes and also the characters of 3 important classes and their examples. In the next class, we shall discuss about the roundworms, the nemertine worms, also known as